What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Cyberpunk 2077 video. Today I'm going to show you guys the best graphics settings for Cyberpunk on PS4, on Xbox One, on PS5, Xbox Series X. It doesn't matter, just all consoles. A lot of people also have problems with frame drops on Cyberpunk right now, especially on PS4 and Xbox One, also PS4 Pro and Xbox One S. These settings will also help with that. It will make it less, it won't disappear though, so don't expect the frame drops to just disappear when you do this, but it will make it less. I tried it on my PS4 and it definitely helped. So the settings, just press options, go to settings, then press graphics over here if you haven't already, and then basically you have 5 settings on console. On PC you have a lot more. You also have these 5. If you're on PC, you can just do the same for these 5. It will definitely help. But on PC, you just have to adjust it to your own build, kind of. But on console, you just have these 5. So for the first 4, these are just all effects that they add to movies to make them look more cinematic, look more cool. Also trailers, it looks a lot more better when you have these effects. But for games, you don't really need them. So you can go ahead and turn them all off. And by turning them off, you already make it easier for your console to actually run the game. If it's easier to run, you can also get higher frame rates, so you will have less frame drops. For the last one, motion blur, this is something that you can turn off in every game. So also turn it off. Same logic, it will make it easier for your console to actually run. Now, if you're thinking, hold on, I don't want to just turn everything on, maybe my game will look worse. The game won't look worse. You just have like a couple of things that you don't probably even notice that will just be gone. For example, film grain. This is something that they add in movies to make the screen more grainy. What this means is basically they literally add grains to the screen. This gives a old effect to the movie. For example, if you want to shoot a scene from the 70s, you can add this. Back in the days with the old cams, they had this. With digital cameras, you don't have this anymore, so they literally add the effect to the game. Also, a game is not filmed with a real lens, so normally you won't have this. Then chromatic aberration. On old cameras or bad lenses, you have this effect on edges of a roof, for example, or just a object in general, that the edge kind of turns another color. So the light is kind of broken in a way. You also see this, that the edge turns kind of light blue. You maybe saw that. And in games, it's basically that the edges, right now in Cyberpunk, they only say the edges of the screen, but in general, it's the edge of a object that they make look a little bit more softer, so it doesn't look that sharp, it doesn't look that digital. Depth of field, that causes the distant objects to become unfocused, like they say over here, a very good explanation. So basically, if you look in the distance, it will look blurry like in real life. But again, in a game, it's not real life, so it's again something that they add to make it look more fancy, more realistic, maybe not necessarily more realistic, but just effects that make it look more fancy. I would like to say it like that. Then lens flare, I'm going to show you guys what this does exactly right now because I found a spot, but basically they try to imitate a source of light kind of, and all the light beams that are reflected on objects or the lens or whatever. Because normally if you add a light source to a game, it's just a light source. You're not going to see the beams, you're not going to see the reflection on the camera, whatever. And then motion blur, you have this in a lot of games. You can turn it off basically in every game. It's basically when you're moving fast, the sides will blur, and when you turn this off, it won't blur that much. So yeah. So for example, over here, I have an example. So right now these settings are all off. I'm standing between these lights and you guys can see no light beams. So look good. And now we're just gonna return to the settings. Do everything on default and try to look good. I don't know if it will be visible on YouTube, but you can just see all these lights. So you can see these little rainbows kind of. They are really good to see. For example, over here. This is something that you will miss, but do you really need this? Like, if you can have a little bit less frame drops instead of this, I would definitely trade that in. So this is the lens flare kind of, and then the motion blur I will try to show you guys. But basically, I'm just gonna drive forward, just look at the sides, and they are kind of gonna blur away, kind of. Not like insane, like you're going at light speed or something, of course, but they're gonna blur away. And then, for example, when I turn it off, so motion blur, let's just turn off everything. You can see that they're a little bit more clear. So the difference isn't huge, but it's helping your console. It's making it easier. Your console has to worry about less stuff than it used to before, so it can focus more on the frames maybe. So guys, that was pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if it worked for me. It worked personally. As I said in the beginning, don't expect major differences, but it will make it more enjoyable to play. That was it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and peace out, you guys.